Okay, today I'm going to make some more purple rice because I've finished mine and I need to eat some more. So what I'm going to start off by doing is getting a cup of just short grain Korean rice. Like, it's kind of like short grain rice, short grain white rice, and you want to fill it up to about there. And then I'm going to fill the rest with my black rice, which currently I'm using this one, glutinous black rice, and it looks like this. Oh, I made a big mess. Okay. Cool, so that's how it looks. And so overall you should have like, that much white rice and that much black rice. And then I'm going to pour it all into my pot that I make the rice in. No rice cookers around here, we make things in a pot. Just going to collect the rice that fell on the table and add it in. No waste. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to rinse the rice 2 times and pour out the water, and then on the 3rd time we're going to rinse the rice again, but we're going to save that water, and I'm going to actually use that water to make seaweed soup, which I'll show you in another video. So I'm just going to go to the sink and do that, and I'll be back. So I just wanted to show you how I actually washed my rice. So I just filled it in, and basically you just have to keep like rubbing the rice like this, like really get the rice in your hand and do this so that you're removing the excess starch and any nasties that might be on the rice. And you want to see the water go cloudy, and just do that for a few seconds basically until the water runs clear. Not clear, sorry, until it goes cloudy. And then you know you've scrubbed it enough basically. And then you basically throw out that water. So this is round 2, by the way, so it's a bit less cloudy than the first round. So I'm going to throw this water out, and then I'm going to do this for a 3rd time, and then we're going to save that water actually. So this is the 3rd round now, so let's do that same method again of just washing the rice. And remember, this time we're going to save the water because it's got that starch in it, and it adds a nice base for your seaweed soup compared to using normal water. Okay, so now I'm going to get a sieve, put it over a jug, and we are going to save this water. So let's do it. Got our jug, our sieve. Let's hope we don't make a big mess. Bismillah. Nice thing about using a sieve is you don't need to worry about the rice falling into your water, you know, and you can really drain it well as such. And then you just put that back into the pot. Okay, so we're going to save this water and use it as a seaweed soup base, which I'll show you later. Let's go back to our rice for now. So now we've done washing the rice 3 times, and we need to actually add the water that the rice is going to cook in now. And you might be thinking, how do I know how much to add? Well, we added 1 cup of rice right to the top. So what you want to do is add basically like 1 3/4 cups of water. So you can do a 2-to-1 ratio, but I find that the rice is sometimes a little too soft when I make it like that. So I prefer doing like 1 3/4 cups of water instead, roughly, okay? So I'm going to fill that up and add it in now. So here's 1 cup. And then just get the rest. Okay, so I'm going to add like just up to that line, basically more, and just allow the water to take the rice off the side of the pot. Okay, cool. So now we are not ready to cook just yet, because firstly the rice needs to soak for 30 minutes, and secondly, the way I like to make my rice is I add a few nice ingredients which make the rice healthier and also tastier, really. So I'm gonna add garlic, okay, and ginger. And the garlic I like to use is already peeled and sold in a pack like this. And the benefits of this is, if you're making this rice regularly, you probably don't want to always be peeling garlic every single time, you know, because it takes lots of time. So you can just buy them ready peeled, freshly peeled in the Korean grocery store. That's what I like to use. I still wash them out of the pack because people have been handling it, you know. And yeah, I'm going to use around, that's quite a lot of ginger actually. We're probably going to use around half of this amount, so maybe half an inch of ginger. So we're going to finely cut the we're going to finely cut the ginger and the garlic, and then we're going to add it into our pot. So here's the best way to peel your ginger. You're going to get a spoon, and you are simply going to angle the spoon like 45 degrees, and then kind of push into the ginger a tiny bit, and then you're going to like slide it towards you so we get a grip on it. There we go. So you're going to use your thumb over here, and then you're going to kind of slide the spoon towards you, and it allows a really thin layer of the skin to be removed, so you're not removing too much of the ginger flesh itself. It's very easy. It's easier than using a potato peeler, by the way. Of course, feel free to try both methods for yourself and choose whichever you think works best for you. This is just my personal preference. People say you don't really need to peel ginger and you can add it all in like that, but this ginger is not organic, and I don't know if it's had any pesticides sprayed on it, and I'd rather be safe than sorry, so I'm just going to peel the ginger because I don't want any remnant pesticides in my rice. So yeah, I also washed it before I peeled it for the same reasons, really. So yeah, I'm now going to slice it as thin as possible, increasing that surface area for the flavors to be diffused into the rice, sort of. Okay. And then just slice it a bit more, maybe. Don't want any large pieces when you eat it. It might be a bit spicy. Just do it roughly, who cares? Okay, cool. So I'm going to add it into our pot of rice, just kind of off frame. Just over here, okay? I'm just going to throw it in there. Okay, and now to the garlic. What I do, by the way, you might be thinking, well, this is a really big pack of garlic, you know, and if I keep it in the fridge, it'll probably go bad before I use it all. So I actually just keep this in the freezer, and then whenever I want to make this rice, I just grab 3 to 4 garlic cloves for 1 cup of rice worth. And then it stays fresh for months, basically. And also, I find that sometimes when the garlic's frozen, the texture is easier to slice, although your fingers do really hurt because the garlic cloves are really, really cold. But it's a good cost-effective way to buy your garlic, and like I said, it saves the hassle of having to peel the cloves every time. You don't want to pre-cut the garlic, store it in the freezer pre-sliced, because when you slice the garlic, the aromatics are released, and they will basically be lost if you pre-slice and then store. So if you want the most flavoursome garlic, you should cut the cloves, like slice the cloves fresh for when you're actually cooking your dish. That's a tip I have for you. There we go. And then I'm going to bung that into the pots with the rice. It didn't take too long at all, did it, guys? Okay. Now, what we're going to do is, almost done. Oh yeah, I should have set a timer already for 30 minutes, but I forgot, so no worries. I'm going to add some sesame oil into my pot, just a drizzle, maybe around a teaspoon, because it just adds a nice flavour to the rice, and it suits it so well, and it also helps the rice to not stick to the bottom of the pot, so we don't have any wasted rice when we cook this way. So yeah, now that we've got everything we need in the pot, I don't add any salt or anything like that because the flavour comes from the food that we pair the rice with. I'm just going to let that soak for 25 minutes now. My hands are clean. I just go ahead and I just swirl I just mix everything together, you know, to get the rice mixed in with the oils and all. And then I just let that sit. Yeah, let's see how much water we've added compared to my finger level, the traditional way to measure it. So basically it's just like halfway up my finger, the water came up to there. So yeah, but I told you earlier how much water to add, so we are fine with that. Anyway, so 25 minutes later, we're gonna cook the rice. Okay, our timer went for the rice, so it's been 30 minutes. And we are now going to put this on the stove with high heat until it starts boiling. When you see that it starts bubbling, like big bubbles, like it's proper boiling, then you need to put it on a very low simmer for 11 minutes. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so our timer has gone for the rice. It's been 11 minutes of simmering. And as you can see, oops, you can't really see because it's steamed up now. Yeah, but the water's basically been absorbed. It looks a bit too moist, like there's still some reminiscent water, I think. So I'm going to give it like maybe 2 more minutes on the stove, and then it should definitely be enough. Okay, so it's been 2 minutes extra, and the water is now fully absorbed into the rice, as you can see. However, I'm not going to actually keep the lid lifted off, and I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to eat this directly because we actually need to let the residual heat fluff up the rice for the next 15 minutes. So the stove is definitely off now. I'm going to move it away from the stove so that it can kind of cool down, because I've got something else going on the stove as well, and I don't want that heat to overcook this rice. So yeah, I'm just going to move this over to a heat mat off the stove. Sorry, I don't know why it keeps going out of focus. Anyway, we're going to put timer on for 15 minutes without any heat, just to let the rice fluff up a bit, and then the rice will finally be ready to eat. So see you in a bit, guys. Okay, so our rice has finished cooking. We've waited 15 minutes, so here is the grand reveal. But yeah, it's super delicious. So what we're going to do is we're going to fluff up the rice now, because there we go. So you need to give it a little mix with our rice scooper, and then this kind of makes the rice have a nicer texture rather than just taking it out without having fluffed it up. So I'm going to put the lid back on so the steam can help it fluff up.